I'm Liz of Lizard Lather, and today I'm going to be showing you how I made a beer soap. Here I'm dumping out the bottle into a container that I'll be able to use to make my lye solution. The beer has to be really flat before you can add the lye. So here I'm using my stick blender to get as many of the bubbles out as I can. Then I'll let it sit overnight, and in the morning I'll put it in the freezer to make it a kind of slushy solution and start out as cold as possible. Here I'm grinding up some oats to be used later as a gentle exfoliant. I like oats as an exfoliant just because they're soft and not too abrasive, but yet give you that nice scrubby feeling. Here I'm pouring off a portion of my melted and mixed up oils. I'll be using that later to make a light layer on top that's supposed to look like the head of the beer. Here you can see my slushy beer. I'm going to slowly add the lye in small amounts, trying to keep it from getting too hot. I did end up finding that it got too hot anyway, and so as you'll see coming up, I had to add it to an ice bath to cool it off. Here I'm adding my oats and my colorant to the oils before I start adding my beer and lye solution. This way I won't have to mix as much once I've added the lye solution. Beer soap tends to accelerate really fast, and so I want to have as much prepared ahead of time as possible. So everything was going really well up until about here. I hadn't used my stick blender yet. I sort of thought I could get away with just blending it with a whisk, but as I'm mixing in my fragrance oil there, it started to look a little chunky. I didn't know if those lumps were okay or not, and I figured I probably better stick blend them out. But as you'll see, once I started stick blending, things started moving too fast, and I sort of had to squish it all in the mold quickly. Right when I stuck my whisk in was when I realized things were going badly. I've never actually seen soap do this before, but, you know, roll with it, right? Here I'm using a little soap shaper tool I made out of cardboard. I'm using it to remove a little bit off the top so that when I pour in the lighter colored beer over it, it kind of looks like the beer head is overflowing a mug. And then I'm making my lighter color soap here. I added some oats to that as well, and some honey, partly because I like the way honey feels and lathers, and partly because it discolors it just the right amount for what I would consider the beer head of Dragon's Milk beer, my favorite beer. A couple hours later, I took the lid off and found out that it had gotten quite warm and gone through gel phase. That's okay, that'll even out over the next couple weeks in curing. And here we are for the cut. Overall, I think it turned out pretty well. Here I'm just cleaning up the finished bars, taking the edges off, just to make it look a little bit nicer, and so the first time you use it, it's a little less harsh on the corners. Thanks for watching.